Hello, North Country soccer fans, and welcome to the George Brendler Field here on the 15th of October 2013. We've already 7.5 minutes into this game. I'm actually late getting here. I'm Joey Trombley. On the camera is Joe the Fish Poisson. But I was out in Ellenburg for a big matchup between the Lady Eagles and the Bobcats of Northern Adirondack, and a lot was riding on that game. If Chazy wins that game, they win Division II. If the Bobcats win, they're within a tie, 1 point of winning the division with a game left in the season. The Chazy girls were heading off to Ticonderoga tomorrow, and I'm not sure who NAC was playing, so there was a lot riding on it. And it was a very, as Joe liked to say, a very entertaining first half. It went back and forth. Chazy was leading at the half, 3-2. They were trailing 1-0 early in the game. They came back with 3 goals. Were up what you felt was probably a comfortable 3-1 lead, but Rachel Venn was breaking in toward the end of the first half, and Olivia Blaze took her down. It was actually a good play to foul Rachel Venn because she would have finished, and it came to a penalty kick, and they brought in Dernan from the defensive position, and she just buried the penalty kick. So at halftime it was 3-2, and the game stayed like that through the second half, and both teams had opportunities, but in the final minute and a half, NAC was trying to get that equalizer. They're putting the pressure on, and with about 10 seconds left, they probably had about 3 grade 8 opportunities. With about 10 seconds left, Rachel Venn hits the goalpost, and Chazy ends up winning that game, the Lady Eagles, and they'll win Division II. So hence while I'm late getting here. So and the reason Joe's on the camera is Calvin was up there doing the filming with me up at NAC, but then he had to head off to Northeastern. There was a volleyball game going on. And Calvin wanted to be, even though it's a nice night, wanted to be very clear he was guaranteed to be warm at Northeastern tonight as he would be inside. So that's why I'm late, and I'll be here for the first half.
Tell me about our special guest up here.
Give me a second.
Joe,
here.
You've been prattling on since you got up here.
Yeah, but I have healthy lungs, and I can just keep going and going. I'm like the ever-ready bunny battery.
There's no doubt. Did you have some coffee or something on before you got here?
No, I had a Pepsi Max, so there might be some caffeine in there. But so I made it back here, obviously, so I'm late. But we have a special guest up in the booth tonight. We have the guy that you never think of. You got the big 3. He's the middle child of Chazy soccer. But, as you will say in a minute, a stellar record, but we never really think of him because he was the middle coach. We think of George Brendler Field, and then we got Tommy Tregan up here with us. And then, of course, you got Rob Mcauliffe, the current coach. So they remember number 1, they remember the current. And I'm saying this, it's not he doesn't deserve this, but people go, they think of Mcauliffe, they think of Brendler, but when do you hear Tommy Tregan? And here he is up here now. Now, we had to pay an appearance fee to get him up here, but Tregan is up here.
Well, it's just an honor and a pleasure to be with 2 local sports enthusiasts like the 2 of you gentlemen. So it was either this tonight or Jeopardy, and I think that probably going to learn a plethora of more information by spending some time with you guys.
Oh my! And as you can see, he's got a nice wit about himself there. Joe, we didn't come up here to be sport.
Well, you know, I tell you, I was talking to Tom before this broadcast. He had a stellar career. He coached for 7 years.
Yeah.
In Chazy, and some people are going to say this is not right, but it is right. Tom Tregan had a higher winning percentage than George Brendler.
Really?
Yes, he did.
Okay, now obviously these are stats you just
no, these are actual facts.
No, I know that, but what were the percentages?
It was close. It was close, but Tom Tregan did very, very well in the 7 years that he coached here. Coach of Chazy boys. How many did you go to Final Four appearances too, Tom?
We did not go to the Final Four. We did win 5 sectional titles during the 7 years. And so we're pretty proud of what we did occur.
Well, you know, when Coach Brendler left, I mean, of course, people are thinking he was obviously an icon coach here. What was going to happen to the program? And you took that torch and you ran with it.
Well, it didn't help that it didn't hurt any that he left me with a strong tradition, no question about that, including in my first year, one special senior that is the current coach, Rob Mcauliffe.
Well, that was your first year coaching. You had Rob?
Absolutely.
And was he was a senior, you said?
He was.
Okay. And obviously an MVP at that.
Absolutely. Very unselfish player, hardworking. We had a relatively young team.
Well, you had more than just McAuliffe on that team.
Absolutely. We had some cast of characters, let me tell you.
So were you the coach for the Tim Martin era?
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
When you say cast of characters, I had to think of Tim Martin.
Tim, one little known fact is Tim never received a red card in his high school career.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
But he had the nickname Red Card Martin.
Yeah, well, that was given by others, but Tim never a red card in my time.
No kidding.
How about yellows?
He may have had a yellow or two. He might have gotten mistaken for, wrong numbers. Some other kid may have gotten it, but
I'm sure
Tim
he's
took.
going to say that too, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. No question about it. But never a red card from Tim Martin. Never.
Cool.
So 7 years, and do you remember what your record was in that 7-year period?
I don't know. We only kind of in coaching. We only worry about the losses, unfortunately. But we had some great times here, quite honestly.
Now you had 5 sectional championships.
Yes.
Now, how far did those teams go in the playoffs? Now, could you go to state play after at that period of time?
Yeah, we could go. Back then, the route was you always played Section 10, and the winner of that went on to play Section 2 or Section 9. In our case, for the 5 years, we lost to the Section 10 team. Typically a 2-1, 1-0 kind of game. And the last year we were here, won the against the Section 10 team, and then went on and lost against in overtime in a Section 2 team.
So some great success. Now you won 5 out of 7. I'm assuming the 2 years that you didn't win, you were in the hunt.
We were league champions for the other couple years as well. We lost in overtime one year to Westport. Tough game. Great team that they had, and we did as well. And another Wells had a nice strong team one of the very last years as well.
So you were winning the divisions, but you won the divisions, won 5 of the section championships, but the 2 years you were league champ but lost the sectional championship?
Yes.
Okay. So the 7 years you were there, you were 7 times a league champion.
7. We either shared or won either league or section title all those years.
Okay, and then now when you left coaching, was that when you went to PHS?
I went to Plattsburgh and coached the girls team for a couple of years and worked at Stafford Middle School, and then went on to some administration in Plattsburgh.
And so when you went to Plattsburgh, was that the year that Rob Mcauliffe took over, I'd assume?
Yes, Rob and Tom Brendler shared some responsibilities at that time. But Rob certainly was a coach for a long time, both when he was a player and then he was assistant coach when I was working here as well. And a lot of our success even at that time was due to his efforts.
Oh, so Rob helped you?
He did.
I did not remember that.
Now I have a question. Where did you learn the game of soccer, Tom?
Well, that's questionable whether I ever did learn it, but I did play at Peru, and soccer was in many respects its infancy back then. Chazy always kind of being the class of the league in the area. So that's where I played, and played some at North Country Community College as well.
Now you were here as a gym teacher before you went off to Plattsburgh.
Yes.
Now were you ever AD?
Never, not
Okay.
here. I was at St. John's in the last year of its existence.
Okay. So you were here as a gym teacher. Coach Brendler is thinking of retiring. Now, did you ask for that position, or did they come and ask you if you wanted to take it over?
Well, it's funny you kind of mentioned that. When I applied for Mr. Brendler's position, there was a committee of about, I think, 11 people that were on it. And I had
the coaching position?
Absolutely.
Are you serious?
For the coaching and the physical education position. And there were 3 different interviews. So I think the community thought pretty highly of Mr. Brendler and the importance of soccer and the importance of physical education. So, or maybe they didn't think very highly of me. I'm not sure which it was, but regardless, it did go through.
So that's how you got the job.
Yes.
Right. So, okay, so you came right on and got the job and got the soccer position.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that was part of the job interview, that you have to take soccer if you take the position?
Well, at that point,
Or was it understood?
It was kind of understood, and I did have a background and coached at St. John's. We had some success there, too, for about 8 years.
You had a question, Joe?
Yes. Now how long have you been an administrator?
It's 10 years here at Chazy Elementary. Prior to that, there were about probably 5-6 years as assistant principal in Plattsburgh.
And I want to congratulate you once again. Chazy is known for not just soccer, education. Last week, the first best school in the area again, and you know, and you can say what you want. It starts from the top.
Well,
and, you know, with you and all the administrators that we've had here in the school board, it's another thing Chazy can hang their hat on.
well, no question about it. We've got some great leadership from the school board. We have a wonderful thing called the Minor Foundation that is very generous, absolutely, continuously.
Generous yesterday.
Yeah, well, the foundation gives money to the school every year.
Yes.
And it seems like every year they're masters at investing their money. They support the hospital. They support They support the school. They support obviously the farm, minor institute,
museum,
and so we're very fortunate. You know, they basically committed. It looks like it will happen about $290,000.
Wow.
And
phenomenal.
when I first came up, it was hanging around at 90,000 or 200,000 back 12 years ago, and the foundation. They just, I think they were impressed yesterday, Tom, when Superintendent Fairchild gave the update of the school and what we've accomplished. They seem to be obviously very impressed.
I think they're very impressed. They're pleased that the school board has not taken a single raise during that time.
Yeah, they were actually stunned by that. They were stunned by that. It was, but you know, the thing is, it was the foundation, obviously. You know, they know about there's a post there by Hicks. They know about our soccer success. They knew we took another championship last year, but just very, very pleased with the academics of it. And we can't forget, we're a school for academics first, sports second.
Student athletes.
And, you know, and it does. It starts with, we've had, in my tenure here as school board member, we've had 3 very good superintendents with Jerry Blair, Kevin Mulligan, and now John Fairchild. And actually, Tom, you came on during the Jerry Blair era.
This time, yes. Originally, my original superintendent was Charlie O'Connor.
Right, when you came on as a gym teacher.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, you know, since that time, and then Tom's done obviously a wonderful job down at the elementary, a Blue Ribbon award-winning school, and some nice movement there. So, Tom, it just seems like you have the golden egg. Wherever you go, there's nothing but success.
There have been people who say that I've laid an egg before, so not the first person to say that. No question about it.
But it's a real treat for Joe and I to have you up here, because we like to get different people up here and different perspectives and talk about. It's almost like I'm doing a talking business segment up here, which is really cool.
Is one of the popular shows.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's one of. I heard that O'Reilly at Fox News is getting nervous about the viewership because Talking Business is just racking up the awards.
I think there's a reason people are using Time Warner Cable in this region.
And what would that be, Tom?
Well, I think the Talking Business segment certainly is it's really something that.
It really is journalism at its best.
Well, that's one way to describe it.
See Joe's face right here. Okay. We actually did a good show today. We went back to D&D Meets, and
classic there. I'm looking forward to perhaps some debates. I hope there'll be some political debates.
Well, you know, I got to get Calvin together for the election year and to get the obviously in Chazy to get the candidates to do a debate.
It would be interesting. Yeah.
I'm told, and I won't embarrass the person that told me this, said I really shouldn't be the one doing the debate.
Well, why not? I think you're impartial, even though you sometimes are not. I think you have. Well, you know, let's face it. We all have our things that we have, but I think you have the ability to be impartial.
Well, I appreciate that, but the reason I was told this is because, you know, Mark and I are pretty good friends.
Oh, yeah.
So they didn't think it would be fair that I'm doing the debate.
And I'll tell you this point blank, I'm voting for Mark. I don't care. Mark Henry's got my vote all day long. So that's just the way it works. I don't know if Calvin's going to put this on or if you.
Well, he won't edit this.
So, you know, listen, Mark Henry's
But you know,
and he and I have had some wonderfully
healthy debates.
very good debates. I mean, you and he like to.
Well, it's fun because you end up losing them all, but it's fun watching you trying to work your way out of that hole.
Is that so?
Yeah, but that's a whole other story. But
That's a story.
but going back to the point, I think it's good for the folks out there to get to meet the candidates.
Yes.
And to see their position on whatever the issues are, so they can make an informed decision, whichever the way they want to go.
Well, you better hurry up because election day is going to be here in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I gotta give Calvin a call. I've only seen him like 3 times today, but I'll have to give him a call and talk to him about it.
Well, I think the candidates need time. They need to prepare their speeches. They need. I think you're all aware of the Kennedy debate years and years ago, where Mr. Kennedy had the appropriate makeup on, and that was a piece of why he looked calm and cool.
true.
And so hopefully each candidate will have the appropriate makeup, so they'll look fine under the bright lights and questioning that.
Hometown cable.
Mark Henry with makeup. I got to see that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, my debate, of course, we're only talking local politics, is that they would not know the questions ahead of time, so they could prepare and give pat answers, which it normally happens at the presidential debates. But I think it's good to ask questions of the candidates to how they think on their feet. How do they present themselves? How do they react?
Here's a good spot for Chazy.
And Joe says, enough about politics. We're going back to the game here.
If we're not going to have a debate up here, let's get back to soccer.
Oh, wow. So I guess he's bored with the story and life of Tom Tregan up here.
Not really, just Joey Tremblay. That's okay.
Oh, that was a nice shot.
I'll tell you what, there was a goal beginning of this
when I was
game.
walking up. Who
What's the
scored
beginning? That was Alex Rabdu, the senior. It is senior night here in Chazy.
It is.
Today is October 15th in 2013. This is the last regular season game at the George Brendler Field this season. Chazy's undefeated. You know, they're on top of the Northern Soccer League Division II. And they have the only blemish they have on their record, well, 2 ties in the division. And they have, I think with a win tonight, I think they're going to wrap it up. So, because everybody else has at least 2 losses.
It is senior night, and Joe, I assume you'll be filming the show at halftime there when they announce
The halftime show.
Yeah, I got to go down and announce everything.
Yes. So yeah, we can do that.
And then if we can keep Mr. Tregan up here for the remainder, because I have to head out. I got an appointment at 7.
Better be important.
Well, it is. I got pool night tonight. You know, we got
Like
a
I
big
said.
match at the Weathercock, and the boys have asked me to make sure I shown up. We've struggled the first 3 weeks of the season,
I've heard.
and so we'll see if I can, bring some of that skill set that I learned to the pool table. You know, it's if I can bring some of that school board mentality to the pool game. What do you think, Tom?
Fiscal conservatism, I'm sure will be in play here.
Well, that's a compliment right there for me, Tom, when you say that, fiscal conservatism.
Well, all money is well spent.
Absolutely it is. Oh, this is dangerous. Oh, nice shot. Rabbit was looking for goal number 2 there.
So you're not going to be here for the whole game. You missed the first part of the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ted Baxter.
Well, I'm a part-time announcer. There's no doubt about it tonight. Yeah, but I've only done 2 programs today for Hometown Cable and run a real estate business in between.
That's it?
Yeah.
Slacker.
I know. I saw Maggie for about 5 minutes, said hi to her, and then, but she was at the girls' game too.
Was there a good crowd?
Yeah, it was a very good crowd actually, and as I would expect, no less. And it was definitely a highly anticipated game. 2 quality teams, and Coach Relation is doing a good job there at NAC.
Brought that program up.
Yeah, she has. And we are at 14-11 left here in the first half. Chazy with a 1-0 lead. And you know what's nice is Westport has come here to play.
They're not bad. You know what, Joey? Before you got here, they almost scored. They scored probably. Trent Blaze made a couple of really good saves at point blank range. They came down. They had a direct kick, and they almost scored right off the bat within the first minute of the game.
And those were the 2 shots that they had. Okay, Hicks. Oh, wow. Hicks tried to go in, and the goalie for them is Sam Napper. And Mr. Napper's doing a nice job over there 9 shots on net. He's only given up 1. Now, it was a nice goal. I heard they were scoring as I was walking up here.
Yeah, Alex had a nice goal. Really nice goal. Some good work. But, Chazy, they've had trouble putting the ball in back of the net this year. They're kind of...
Well, they aren't scoring like they used to.
They are not scoring like they used to. You know what? The injury to Drake really hampered that.
Drake's good for 25, 30 goals a season.
This year he probably would have been good for all that, plus how many assists. And it's what he does away from the ball. That's important also.
The Tasmanian Devil,
He
right?
is, and it just they don't have that this year. They don't have a Brandon Lauren or a Reynolds or a Ryan to hey, go get me a goal. I need one now.
Right.
They don't have that this year, but they're scoring by committee, and listen, they're doing enough to win. They're not a great team, but they're a real good team.
They're a good team.
They are.
And it's posted today. Casey Barkham posted on Facebook. The rankings came out for this week, and Chazy actually dropped to number 2. Poland went to number 1, and the question was asked, well, how did they go to number 2 when they are beating the D teams? And I thought Casey had a good response. He said, Poland is beating teams outside of D, and they're playing well. And we haven't been ranked number 2 since I guess 2011. But
doesn't matter.
But it really doesn't matter. And the thing is, the boys are ranked number 2. It was number 1 up until this week. So, yeah, they aren't dominating teams, but they're still winning.
Yes.
And if you look at the goal differential this year compared to last year, and there's a shot. Gay would like to have that back.
Yes, he would.
But if you look at the goals for, they're number 1 or number 2 in the league, just behind Seton, I think, by 3 goals. And so they're winning. They're up there in goals.
They're not allowing a lot of goals.
The problem with this team is everybody's comparing them to teams from the past years.
So it's human nature, and is it?
But they're a good team. They are a good team.
They're undefeated so far. One loss to a good St. Maurice's team from Long Island, and that was earlier in the season.
And if Drake didn't get hurt, who knows how that game could have turned out?
Possible. I still think St. Maurice's was better. I think they were the better team. I watched. Even with Drake, I still think they were better. But,
Yes, they were.
It's in all fairness. But Chazy has outplayed the vast majority of the teams they had played this year, including some good Class B schools. They beat Beavertown and they beat PHS, and they're ranked 1 and 3 in Division 1. So,
well, a good game will be this coming Friday. Chazy is playing Seton, and that's a much anticipated game.
Yeah, it is.
That was a 1-1 game here at the George Brendler Field.
They have Tedford. Tedford is more than likely he's going to get the MVP in Division 2. That's
Probably.
how they do it. He's a senior.
Well, he's worthy.
Scored the most goals. Tied Chazy. That's their hang their hat on that one, and you got to give it to him. He is a really nice player.
Yeah, it's not like he would not deserve it.
Oh, I know.
It was like the year Sherman won it. Yeah. He was great.
But they won the division.
Yeah, they did.
Seton isn't winning the division, And I can make a case for Barrier, especially he's the high scorer for Chazy, but he's also more than just the high scorer. He's a general of the midfield. He and Brothers are having a great season. He and they're 2 juniors, so they're coming back next year. He and Zach Brothers. Having great seasons in the middle.
Okay, we have a couple seniors coming in here. We have Brendan Ryan and Dylan Guerrero checking into the game.
Where did Brendan go? Okay.
He went to get the ball to do a throw-in.
All right, there's Brendan right there. Coming off his Hicks.
So it is senior night. So we're under 10 minutes here left in the half. Chazy with a 1-0 lead, pretty much controlling the tempo of the game, but not getting the number of goals that they probably would like. But they'll keep working. They got a corner kick coming up right now. And it'll be Hayden Gay taking the kick. And Alec Lapierre takes it in. And Mr. Lapierre header into the net. But, good pressure by the Eagles. You knew it was a matter of time before they got goal number 2. And Tom, going back to when, what were the years that you coached? What were the time span?
89 to 95.
Okay. And I think you'll probably agree, fast forwarding 18 years after you have left, as good as we were back then, the level of play has just picked up tremendously.
Passing is great. The possession is wonderful. I think overall, teams are play better soccer, keep the ball on the ground more throughout the league. So it's a better game to watch. But our kids, in many respects, they're interchangeable. They all know how to play the game. Rob Mcauliffe certainly has them playing well, and the wonderful feeder program that exists here. I attribute a lot of that certainly to all his hard work.
Now, when you look at your great teams back in the late 80s, early 90s, if you could fast forward them to the same age they are now playing the Chazy teams now, what do you feel that would be like?
The Chazy teams now have good players in every single spot, and we would probably have some kids that worked real hard but maybe were a little bit younger and in spots and a little bit less skilled, so we would struggle. But we had some awfully talented kids too. We mentioned Tim Martin, we mentioned Rob Mcauliffe, Chris Gondek, one of the best players certainly ever to play here.
Yes.
Was on the team. Those are just three in particular, and there's a cast of other kids, youngsters, young men in the community like a James Moser was a wonderful player here.
Right.
Chris DeMars.
Yes.
Who is a Chazyite and a resident, has a daughter here in school now, second grader. These lots of good people certainly in those times. So those guys would certainly be great players on these teams as well.
Right.
Actually, those people that you just mentioned, every one of them has done extremely well outside of high school, after high school, and beyond soccer. Every one of those people. Martin's an administrator downstate at school, and DeMercy just moved back into Chazy. He's an engineer. I mean, these guys knew they weren't going to make money in playing soccer. They had a great time doing it in high school, but they got their education, and they've done good things with it after. Is Gondek coaching still?
He is a sports information director, as I understand it. So not involved in the coaching side of it right now.
But still with, was it Oswego? Fredonia?
Chris Gondek, I'm not sure which university he is with right now. His brother, PJ, is at Fredonia as a coach.
He's a coach.
Oh, PJ is a coach at Fredonia.
He's been there quite a while, PJ's as.
PJ has.
So, these, we mentioned McCullough, of course, all those they turned into really good men. I mean,
I think that's the biggest piece for George Brendler, for myself, and for Rob, is that we're really proud of the men that they turn out to be.
Right.
And I think that this is a big piece of it, and understanding what it is to be selfless, look out for other people, and work as a team, and we're all very, very proud of how they act on the field and what they grow up to be as men. Very proud of that.
Well, and they'll all come back and tell you this was a big piece, and what you guys all meant, from Coach Brendler to you to Rob Mcauliffe, just the life lessons that you can learn on a field and that they take into the real life world and their situations, and they are better people because of it.
Absolutely. One of the questions that often gets asked is, would you trade this team for that team, or to have the opportunity to have a state championship? And what I'd say for my piece is, I admire what's occurred, but I wouldn't trade any of my years for anybody else's, because each of those years and each of those kids and teams were special in their own way. So, it's really about being with the guys, working hard for a goal, achieving that goal. It's great, and it's so wonderful to see what fine men they become.
Well, what's nice about what you and Coach Brendler did was you set the bar for these kids. Now, you struggled with Section 10 for years until we broke that bar. You broke it, actually, your final year, then you went on to Section 2. And so once that happened, teams that were coming after that realized we could compete with Section 10 and other schools like a Wells down south of us. And that's all incremental. And for players to believe it, they got to have players before them that do it. And your teams did that.
getting past that Section 10 team used to be a huge hurdle, and I guess one of the things that Coach Mcauliffe has done is these kids expect that they're going to go on, and when they get to the Final Four, they're there to win, not to sightsee and just enjoy what it's like to be in Middletown or Oneonta. They're there to win, whereas some other teams may be just happy to get there.
Well, you do notice that. I mean, we're in the broadcast booth, and you can see before the game, the boys and girls, they're all business-like down at the Final Four. You see teams that have never really been there, and they're kind of goofy and doing kid things there. Just happy to be there until the whistle blows, and all of a sudden it's like, oh boy.
I'll tell you an example of that. I listened PHS a few years ago. They were goofing around in the hotel room, and one of their best players gets his arm broken.
Right.
You know what? And Coach LaRose, I'm sure he was livid. And they could have won that year.
Yeah, they could.
I was down there. We were down there that year, and I remember watching both of their games. That's when they had Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
Kid Shaughnessy. Listen, they could have won.
And Kelleher.
Yeah, they could have won. With that extra player, and even so, they lost like 1-0, and just kind of a thing. That's what I mean. You can't. Don't be happy to get there.
Oh, nice feed.
That was nice.
Guerrero and Rabideau. Rabideau on a nice feed from Barrier. And boy, Rabideau's really come into his own this year as a scorer. Yeah, he's had multiple games with multiple scores this year.
That's what he needs to do. He's a senior this year. He's missed some time, and in his career he's had knee issues, and to see him come out and play well, you got to love it. It just shows the tenacity that he has. He wants to play. I remember just driving down the road on the Lake Shore Road. Rabbit out there running in the summer, So, he didn't just do it a week before soccer season.
No.
He was out there and ready to play. So
him and Zach Brothers worked hard this summer.
Yeah, they did.
We saw them on doing their road work this summer, and what happens. You watch this tonight, and of course we're in toward the end of the season, but this is a culmination of what happens when the season ends. These kids play indoor soccer. They play club soccer. They play summer soccer. They run with no coach telling them to run on their off time, working their foot skills. So
listen, you know how it works in Chazy now on the boys team. I can't say it so much for the girls team. I don't know it as well, but if you want to be on this field on a regular basis, you have to do the work off the field. Without people watching you, without somebody coaching. You know what? If you want to be a champ, you have to work hard all the time, and it's just you can see some of these younger players. They've done that. Spencer Rogers. He's one of them. Very coachable young man.
Let's go back a year when it was your son David.
Yeah,
David worked his butt off.
Yeah, he did.
Off season, and he was a big factor of last year's championship team. He played hard.
Yeah, he played well.
And he was one of the first ones off the bench, and when he got out there, he produced.
Yeah, but that's what it takes. If you want to be on the field, you have to do the work not a week before season starts and have coach look at me. That's not how it works. And Zach Brothers this year, he was a good example of that, working hard.
And you look at the reserves on the Chazy bench. The reality is the majority of them would start for other teams.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Guerrero going to the ball right now, and he chips it up onto Barrier, and it goes onto the. I guess I should probably say somebody from went by Slats of Westport, and there's Davis. He's a captain, Ryan Davis, but. The officials and Ryan doing a good job defending them. Ryan trying to contain.
You mentioned the officials tonight?
And I haven't noticed who the officials are. No, I don't know. Who's here?
Jamie Labarge and
Tom Lacey.
Mr. Tom Lacey. Chicken Leg Lacey.
Chicken Leg Lacey. Well, I want you to know, I know you gave Drake the name Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah.
You gave Duquette the Wonder Boy. Well, I came up with one for Lindsay Gilmore.
What do you got?
Spark plug.
That's fine.
She is the spark plug, and she came in and scored again today to give us a 3-1 lead. So, reality, the eighth grader had the winning goal today.
Phenomenal. Yeah, she's fun to watch.
Oh, she is a spark plug.
Yeah, good name for her. Why not?
And I said if the fish can give out names, why can't the choir boy?
Well, Usually yours aren't as good, but this time
Not even close.
You've exceeded my expectations, and that's a good joy. Hard to do.
We're down to the final, 15 seconds. Chazy leading 3-0 here in the first half. They've outshot Westport 13-2 in the first half. And hopefully Coach Tragan will stay up here because I won't be here, so he's going to have to help you out here while you're doing the camera.
Coach Tragan would like to show his versatility.
Well, he's versatile. There's no doubt about that. This man can do it all. All right, the first half has come to an end. 3-0 Chazy. We have a little bit of halftime festivities, and we'll be back for the second half. Here at the George Brendler Field, tonight we want to honor our seniors who have given us a lot of memories through the years. The first player would be Thomas Tebow and his parents, Alicia and Tom Tebow. Guerrero and his parents, Irene and Frank Guerrero. Brendan Ryan and his parents, Pat Ryan and Rose Paola. Trent Blaze and his parents, Sharon and Mark Blaze. Dylan Doran and his parents, Tina and Terry Doran. Alex Rabideau and his parents, Mary Ann and John Rabideau. Alec Lapierre and his parents, Mary and Tony Lapierre. Hayden Gay and his parents, Tisha and James Gay.
And those are the seniors being announced by Joey Trombley down in the booth. And we'll be back with the second half of Chazy versus Westport.
These are your 2013 seniors. Joe Poisson, red card.
We have Tom Lacey handing out some color here before the half even starts for everybody's entertainment.
Just put you in the right mood.
Yeah. And for For the second half of this Westport Eagles Chazy Eagle game at the George Brendler Field, we are going to have former Chazy coach and legend George Brendler himself. We just had, we're fortunate enough to have Joey Trombley and the former coach again, Tom Tregan. Coach, you know, we were talking about Tom Tregan. He seems to be forgotten, kind of in the shuffle between.
Stuck in between.
He
yeah.
does. He's like the middle child. Joey and I were talking about that. But listen, you know what? He actually had a higher winning percentage than you did.
Oh, I
did.
was surprised. Yeah,
And
he
it's-
did very well in those
Yes,
7 years.
yes, he did.
6 years. Well, one of the things is Tom is a retiring type of person, you know, quiet. And,
Oh, yeah.
I've tried to get him on Facebook and try to, you know, bring some of the, just a little review from the old group, and he's a little hesitant, but, you know, there's nothing wrong with mentioning that in your time you've also had some good season, you know, good seasons.
Yes, no doubt. But you know, it's here's a good chance right here with Tom Tebow.
Okay. No, one of the things that I was trying to get Tom on Facebook, of course, the alumni, yourself included, you know, will get on there and make some comment about the old days, and people enjoy hearing their names and going back over the old days. And he and I were talking about his time, and one of the things with Mr. Tregan's time, in my time also, you couldn't go to the quarterfinals in just one game. You had to play 2 games.
Well, that is a recent thing. That's pretty recent. Remember?
Well, one of the things that he helped orchestrate and change.
Yes.
In my time, we actually didn't call the first game a playoff game. It was a preliminary game against sections 10 and 7. We were, you know, it wasn't called a state game,
No,
which is kind of sad. You know, we were rated like stepchildren, you know.
I agree.
And then one thing we changed was 7, 10, and 9 got into a playoff where we'd take buys, and I worked it so the D schools got a bye for us. So that was
I actually was on the team, I believe, that had the first intersectional game like that. We played a team, Colton Pierpont.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time that had started. You're the one that started it. You know,
Right,
you're
yeah,
like, okay,
right.
let's go our best, their best, let's go see what we have. And I do remember that,
and
going up there.
that was a 1-0 game.
Yes,
that
it was.
Lars went right into the gut of the goalkeeper.
Yeah. We should have won.
This, by the way, we've been watching the first half, and some of these Westport kids have skills in general. I think the league has picked up more skill and a little more in the idea of passing. Of course, you got to be able to execute, but
We spoke about that too in the first half, and we asked Tom about, you know, he's been out of coaching for several years, and the skill is just so much better now, you know, and most of that goes to the youth leagues. You have the youth leagues. You have somebody like Rob Mcauliffe here in Chazy, and he has his finger on the pulse, and it's, you know, the girls and the boys, U8 girls, U8 boys, and right up through high school are going to tournaments in the summer, and competitive tournaments. You know, these aren't pat your stats kind of tournaments. These are tough tournaments. And these kids they're growing up with that, so they're not. You had the big hoopla on the buses decorated, people's faces are painted, and the schools. Now it's just, okay, let's get your little 30-second blurb with Ken Drake on WPTZ and head off and go try to win another.
And the other part of that is, as I used to say, it's like when a school changed the coach, that was a game for me. Because you know, against another team that changed their coach, well, when you have a team that hasn't been to the States and you go, you know, against them. Here we go. We might. Oh my! This looks a little crowded.
Oh, right in the keeper.
Like the one we had in the first half.
Yes.
You know, these teams that are there for the first time,
They're excited.
It's an advantage, you know.
And it is exciting. You know, and you have to figure it. And it is exciting, but you know that you still have games to win. You know, you do have games to win, and
oh yeah.
some of these teams do get caught up in the hoopla and the before game banquet and
Oh, yeah.
all these other formalities that you do are, and they're a necessary part of it.
Well, I think
of
the
course.
state playoff was set up. The idea was to make it popular, make it exciting for the kids. And when we went to the first few, that was the big deal, even for me as a section coordinator. Being involved with this, to go to the dinners. And then I guess as time went on, Rob family found that the dinners really were a distraction for the teams, because you're there to try to win a game.
Concentrate.
Concentrate on winning. Of course, you got to fill their time too. So
Understandable.
So I haven't been to a dinner since oh my goodness, quite a while ago, and I don't know what I guess he hasn't been either. The teams haven't been going.
They still do, I believe.
don't know.
You don't know? I thought it was kind of like a mandatory thing. The teams are announced when they come in, and
you got me on that.
I think they do. Well, I had my youngest one was on the team last year, and they went to the
go.
went to the
well,
dinner.
maybe they made it mandatory.
I think they kind of do,
not going.
because from what I understand, there's the teams whenever, and they do announce the teams when they kind of like march in, and it's kind of organized, and even
that was the idea.
Yeah, and all the schools, everybody kind of poo-poos some of the other schools they haven't heard of, and from what I understand, when Chazy gets announced, they're there every year, and everybody looks. Who are How can these guys keep coming back here every year? They're here every year.
It's a special, and you work hard to maintain it.
It's not an
sure
easy.
These kids feel the same way.
Yes, they have.
And the other part of it that I feel bad about, like with the girls, you miss, and it's hard to come back. Robbie has done very well, where we have had a couple of bad seasons. At the end, I mean, we were there and we lost, but we came back.
Even we're the better team and you lose, but you know what? You're back again the next year.
But the thing is, the kids, you got enough of them left from the previous experiences that they want to come back.
Yeah.
You go a few years and lose that, it's much harder.
I have to agree with you. The experience and just that was a decent ball. Good ball by Rabideau. Rabideau trying to get the hat trick on senior night. He's already has 2 nice goals, and we didn't mention Hayden Gay. Hayden Gay was assisted on one of Rabideau's goals. So. Kids are hard on themselves.
Well, one of the things that I think I find is watching the season here, I'm hoping. Of course, they have to work hard to fill a hole there with Garrett, but the front three seem to still have a difficult time getting that shot off, the finishing shot, and whatever it is, they take that extra time. It gets crowded, like in this game.
It's hard to do, Coach.
Yep.
We all know it's the hardest thing to do, to finish, because you have about 5 guys trying to take your head off, and you got to control the ball and do the right thing with it.
Well, it's hard because they're already there.
Yes.
But every time you dribble another step or two,
I agree.
More of them come back and consolidate. So
yes,
as we saw a little while ago, that crowding in front of the goal.
What'd you think about Westport at the beginning of the game? They almost took a lead right off.
Well, we thought we were coming in the gate as that happened. That was close.
Some good saves by Trent Blaze.
Yeah,
real nice save, point blank.
The girls had the same thing. Today we had that makeup game for the girls at NAC, and we misunderstood the time. We arrived, and the game was in. I guess it was underway about 5 minutes or so, and we got there, and NAC had already scored.
Yes. Yeah, but the Chazy girls came back.
Yeah, well,
congratulations.
They got 3 in a row, and then finally NAC had a penalty shot made 3-2. But anyway, the thing about it is a team that is used to winning, it's going to be just discouraged too easily. These girls have had some.
They've come back. They came back on Seton. They were down 2-0, and they came back and beat a good Seton team.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a great game here at the George Brendler Field just about 2 weeks ago, and I think that really it helped them a lot. It helped all the way around their spirit. It really. They knew they could do it coming back against a good team, because they have a Carpenter girl and a Spittler girl.
Oh, yes.
Who are a combination that is tough to beat and around here for high school soccer. And They overcame them.
This is the goalkeeper.
Trent Blaze, yeah. Trent's out there, the senior.
Filling in. One of the things about using the goalkeeper, we talked about that at the last game, that it's a throw up, it's a toss up, because I used to do that. I don't know if you remember, but maybe in your time, was Blair playing?
No, Blair was just a little bit after me.
Okay, well, I even in, maybe it was afterwards, at the end of a game where we might be leading a couple of goals, all of a sudden the goalie would come down the field and be out there shooting at the goal. And of course it was interpreted by the other team like
showboating.
But I wanted him to get some
that's it, yeah.
shooting, but
it's not a bad strike. Oh yeah, Hayden Gay. That was a good goal from distance. Hayden Gay, the senior.
That kind of looks like the direct shot, the direct kick the other day.
Yeah.
Remember that direct kick by him?
Yes, that was wicked.
Same thing.
He caught the keeper flat-footed. Boy, that thing dropped.
Had an
It's good seeing Mr. Hayden Gay, the senior. Kind of one of my favorites. Even though he does listen to rap music, we will forgive him for all that. But just a nice young man. He really is. He's always been a gentleman, and it is great to see him.
We're talking about music. We have a little downtime here, and it's in my time on the buses we had our own team make their own music. I'm sure you remember, and I encourage that very much to get a spirit building. But one of the things that's changed through the years is it seems like every game we go to, they're not playing rap music. And I'm sorry, I had trouble dealing with that.
Don't be sorry, the kids. My parents had it.
Breakaway, and it's in.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful left-footed shot.
Hayden Gay again.
Right in the corner.
Wow, that was nice. Good strike by Gay. Great senior. Great seeing the senior get a couple right off the bat here. Chazy starting to open the floodgates, and Coach McCullough, what is it, 5-0 now?
Well, we 30 minutes, so
we got some time left.
The problem sometimes with this kind of a game, although you want to save your starters and not get them hurt, it also the old days. This setup is better, by the way. The last couple of years,
I think it is.
This league. Even though we may not look as good and score as a lot of goals, but I think
Better.
it's developing better players, more pressure, so on. But you have to be careful, not to have them out too long, because then you're losing the time for them.
I agree, and that's a coach's call. That's where you have to be almost like a conductor in an orchestra. How long have your players been playing? Are they tired? And where are we in this game? And how important is it? And those types of things. And McCullough has always done a good job doing that. I've watched him over here. I've been fortunate enough to watch him over here on the sidelines. And Robbie's always been a very good conductor. He knows when his
you have to know your
when his boys are
you don't. And the other thing with that is you don't want to be too quick on removing somebody like a punishment, for instance.
Oh, no.
That was an old days thing where, somebody made a mistake and out he went.
Oh, I've been there. I've been in your doghouse before, Coach. It wasn't a fun place to be.
Excuse me, I got a chest cold. I'm probably here.
All right.
I hear that, but I kind of had
That's
2
Gravel.
days lay up there. Oh, Gravel in the goal, having some action.
That's good. So you're feeling a little better?
2 days, wonderful. But I didn't want to start out with a chest cold in the fall, because I like to get my flu shot first.
Yes.
And although last year, I had a flu shot, but somewhere in the winter I had the same thing anyway. Mm-hmm. It's not the flu, though, so I guess...
it's just got a common cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do happen. Now, your son Joe, I should say General Brendler.
General, yeah.
What an honor, to even have gone to school with somebody like that. It really is. People, if you've never been in the military, to even become like a lieutenant colonel, you have to have your act together.
Yeah.
And to be a general, and he's not a West Pointer.
No.
Joe's not a West Pointer.
Right.
He's, he went to college, he did the right things, but he even had that demeanor in high school. He had that demeanor about him that people trusted, and if I'll tell you what, if young people in the Army, the one I would like to lead them. You know, Joe Brendler's, he's that kind of person, and that's got to be a heck of an honor, you know.
It's not understood by a lot of people, especially out of the military.
Yes.
People have been in the service; they have some idea that, you know, there are differences in attaining rank.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a reserve, you know, National Guard and so on. Like, the best way I can describe this is, in Vermont, we've seen it occur recently where they have a 2-star general running the Vermont National Guard, you know, and he's appointed by the governor.
Yes.
And he could be a lieutenant colonel and be appointed a 2-star general by the governor. So the regular Army, the competition is much tougher, and we're very proud of him, and he's humble about that. I think he's earned it. It's tough, and right now in this downtime with the economy and so, you know,
it's a tough way. It's a tough way for a living.
Well, the big thing though is that he is actually going to be promoted this month to 2 stars.
Phenomenal. He's going to be a major general.
Major general, yes. He's going to have a 2-star. I mean, he has a job that he's taking over that will be.
You know, people don't understand what it takes, but also the responsibility that those people have. It is just absolutely phenomenal what they are responsible for.
Well, the funds, the money that they're dealing with, the billions of dollars worth
it's
of
just
equipment
dealing with young people.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be you have to wear many hats.
Well, at that level,
you have to be a politician. You know, you have to do those things. You have to, you know, go to the functions that are mandatory, but it's not an 8-hour day.
The thing with that level is that's hard for us to understand is that it's, you know, people say politics. Well, you have to be.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Very cognizant of politics.
No doubt. That was a good move by Trent Blaze. Go Trent. Come on. Oh, Trent knocked down just outside the box. Good move by Trent Blaze, the keeper, coming out and getting some field time. But getting back to what you're saying about Joe.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying that I know we are watching a soccer game.
I know.
But thanks for bringing it up. But anyway, we're proud of him, and I think the town has been a very special thing because
he's not the first general to come out of Chazy. There was a General LeBlanc.
Yeah, LeBlanc.
That was in the Marine Corps.
Right.
And he obtained the
he was a major
2-star.
general.
Yes, he became a 2-star general.
He was a major general.
And that's what I try to tell the young people. There's more generals that have come out of Chazy than professional soccer players.
Yeah, right.
More teachers,
Which
more
gives you
nurses.
something, right.
So, you know, it's just the way it works.
No, that was very special. I remember, in fact, I was doing.
It's a good strike by Blaze.
Oh,
that was a good ball.
Body in front of it.
That was a good ball.
Yeah, the dive-header could have come in. We were working with Dick West. Jimmy West is in construction.
They're doing some stuff at the library.
At the library, we're putting up a shed, which Jimmy himself assembled voluntarily. Volunteer work, and
that's what you're doing over there too, Coach.
And
you know, I tell you what, I appreciate what the community does, what you've done over there for that library. You've been really most of the impetus to get that up and running.
You know, building, it's been a very satisfying experience. Sometimes frustrating, but we're down on the toward the end now. But this one thing that I wanted to see done was just a storage shed for our equipment, because we now have a building like a home, a house. And anyway, Dick West was over there, and I felt bad because I had meant to mention, I recalled he made he recognized General LeBlanc as a brigadier general in church. I remember this kind of stuck with me, that he, during the Mass sometime or after the Mass, he introduced General LeBlanc and everybody gave him a hand, and it was kind of very, not because it was very special.
Yeah.
I think he was the first general from Chazy.
And he was a Marine. He was a Marine. Yes, he was. He was actually my general when I was in. He didn't know me, but that's okay. Yeah, he was in the 2nd Marine Air Wing when I was stationed down in
got his 2nd star. So it's kind of nice. And there was another general from the Plattsburgh area, Otis, I think his name was. and he actually attained 3 stars.
Wow.
And,
Lieutenant General.
He really, I don't think he was, I don't know whether he was locally born, but he was from the Plattsburgh area. So this is modern times I'm talking about. Well, I think we're having plenty of substitutions now.
Oh yeah, he's Coach McAuliffe emptying the bench.
But Joe, I'll tell you this, and I compliment Brian Norcross, our athletic director, for the great job he's done on this field.
Field's phenomenal.
Field going, and the weather this year.
It's perfect.
I mean, when do you remember having the whole season like summer?
It's beautiful.
Here we are today.
This is the nicest I have seen this field stay nice since its inception.
Well, actually, this would be our last. Well, we have one more game, but I mean,
Yes.
the season is just about over. And
Well, yeah, there's going to be playoff games, but
right, but I mean, in terms of the regular season, to
Yes.
think that this could be this nice. It's so wonderful because it's also better soccer, more enjoyable.
I agree. And we're not cold and we're not wet.
You're right.
So this has been a pleasure. I tell you what, it's been a pleasure having Tom Tregan up here and you this evening. It's been nice. Maybe we could do without Joey Trombley. What do you think? We'll put that out there for a vote.
You guys do a good job. No, and
Yeah, we have a
you
blast.
should be again complimented for taking this on yourselves to make it interesting and kind of fill in a little bit of background information. I mean, it's many times when the games are going on, one of the most important things is knowing the relationship of where the team stands, what the other teams are like in the league, and you do a good job with that.
Well, thank you.
With the changes with the players, the injuries, that's what it's about.
It's a nice passion that we have. We enjoy it coming to the girls and the boys games. It's a social thing for everybody.
Well, I look forward to it. It's the highlight of the year, and of course, in my time, I used to say all the time that the most exciting part of the school year was it was before school started, but the preseason to me was the highlight. And we were not distracted with regular classes or whatever. We'd have our scrimmages and practices, and everyone was concentrating on preparing for the season. And then, of course, you got into the regular season. That was still, high time. And I enjoy coming because I had the same feeling.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. In fact,
true,
this
too.
past couple of weeks, it has been. I've been saying
It's
to
a
other
great
people
game.
that because of the pressures in the games and not being completely sure you're going to win, you get competition. I felt like I was coaching. I get aggravated. I go home and I'd be nervous, like I used to go home and be aggravated, dreaming about the game.
That's true. There's a lot of people that do feel like
Well,
that.
I was
It's
even
fun.
the other night. Of course, I enjoy watching the girls. They frustrate me even more than the boys.
They have a good
the other
team.
night, I dreamt about something Rachel Palmio did on the field. I said, I'm not even coaching these kids. But she does a good job, and I try to compliment them. But
They do well.
one of the things you mentioned that I have, I've been around now a long time, and I stay. Youth leagues have helped, but there's certain things that still get left undone. The kids, somewhere along the line, there's certain spots that are weak. It's like seeing a kid that's in varsity come up and still not be able to kick left-footed.
I agree. Fundamental.
How come? I mean, the reason is because even though they're playing in these leagues, somewhere that other factor isn't done where you insist on checking these skills.
Yes.
And the kids should be checked on skills,
I agree.
A set of skills. And you would, they're heading better, because they're playing. But sometimes you get all the way up to varsity, and nobody's ever corrected you on the fact that you're weak on
You
that.
only have 1 foot.
Or they allow you to get away with it.
You lose 50% of your effectiveness.
And it should be pointed out immediately down there in 5th grade or what?
agree.
Excuse me,
No, you are right. Even before
played
that,
every position. That's the other thing I
That's the
say.
thing.
You're not a forward. You're on any position
you're a
on
soccer-
that
you're a
field,
soccer
and
player.
I want to see you be able to play defense. I want to see you tackle. And this this, I think, could be improved on the. I don't know whether you have an organization or coaches get together and have a clinic, because they could be better. I know that sounds terrible to some people, especially when you're a volunteer, but I think it could be better.
You're right.
You did some of this yourself.
Oh yeah.
Even with these kids on the special team.
I used to insist on using both feet when I was doing the youth level. I was fortunate enough though. I was coached with Tom Brendler for a couple of years, youth level, and several different parents: Sean Rogers, Lisa Brothers, Jimmy Gay.
Yeah.
You know, people like that who knew. And Jimmy Gay he knew that. You know, and it's became, listen, you need to use both. And you are right. Some of these players, I remember, I used to get mad at Brandon Lauren.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to get so mad at Brandon. And he knew it, and he got better his senior year. But over the course of the years, because he was such a good athlete, he could get away with it.
Yeah.
But he got better his senior year, though, of course, and became one of the better players to ever come out of Chazy.
And he did handle, he could go both directions.
Yeah.
But now, if you went back and checked how many goals did he get with his left foot?
Yeah. And how many could he have?
Yeah,
I know. And he knows it too. He knows it too. But but he's just he was such a good athlete where he could get away with it. He was quick. He had great foot.
Well, the other thing that I harp on, and I mean, as you sit back here, of course, people say, well, you coached and you're supposedly the authority and know everything, but I do know that I'll see skills. Special little skills.
There goes Dylan Doran, the senior.
Yeah.
It's nice seeing him come up from the defense. Yeah.
Nice to see him up there.
It is good.
I isolate certain skills that people. Oh, excuse me. I got my hands in front of the camera. Isolate certain skills that are successful and can deceive the opponent. And one particular one, rather than the boys, I say actually was the girls, was this Bridget Doll.
Yes.
What might have been even the Howley girl on the right side would. We're playing some team that loved to slide tackle, and she'd be dribbling up, and the girl comes timing her kick.
Yeah.
And she faked the kick. The girl would throw the slide, and she'd pull the ball away and go around her. And after about the third time, I could see the girl shake her head. And I said, "There's a skill that every kid should know. Mm-hmm. Every player, don't lose it."
Do you know what I think is good exposure for these young soccer players in this country? The whole country is this. NBC now has the English Premier League.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now you want to see some people that can play. They make it look slow, easy, and like everybody can do it. And every team is like that. They're just so fun to watch.
Well, we were watching the World Cup qualifiers, which I think were some good example of play there too. But hopefully somewhere down the line, I hope our Americans, these are now American players, but I mean more and more of our American players will be filling the ranks and would be equal to these people from Europe.
Well,
from the rest of the world.
Coach, we have 300 million people in this country. We're the third largest population in the world. I know.
But we don't only play soccer.
That's
the rest of the world. That's the only thing. Well, that's not true.
Well, to most of the extent, you're right.
Yeah.
Basketball is a big, long second place in those countries that play it. Soccer is number one, and we have football, baseball, hockey, and all kinds of sports that we are good at. But it's soccer's come a long way in this country. Look at our women's team. Our women's team. They're a top team in the world. And
that's a good example that we were able to be, to reach that level in the
quick, pretty fast.
But you know why? The women don't play football.
They don't.
And their NBA, WNBA just finished the season. I think.
Yes.
Their NBA.
There's only 10 on a team, or whatever, 12 on a team, and only 5 play in basketball.
And then to finally put this in the proper perspective is that as much as we here love the sport, having worked with it all our lives, the American public does enjoy the spectator level. Ooh, that's a
good
nice.
strike.
Whoa!
That was a good strike by Davis.
The spectator level of football, of the pageantry, which has been around a long time, and the other game that the Americans enjoy more over soccer, I think, would be hockey because of the goals scored.
It's quick.
It's quick,
fast.
and I think, I know people don't want to hear this, but especially from a soccer coach, but the game would be different in this world if there were a lot more goals. If you change this game somehow to make it like hockey, that you get the hockey sometimes had only one goal in there, but there is a difference in the number of goals, and
Americans like scoring.
You're right.
Americans
It makes
like
it
scoring,
exciting for the spectator.
Oh, there's a good feed right there from Dorn.
Now hit it. Hit it.
Can you strike it? Good save. Come off his line well.
Well, at any rate, we're wandering away from the players at hand here.
Yes,
I
we
see
are.
You've got a lot of subs in there, and I'm sure the
He's got a lot of the seniors in there now. He's giving them senior night, giving them a
chance.
Sure, you got Dylan Dorn up front. You got Guerrero out there in the middle of the field. So it's good, Coach McAuliffe. Game's kind of in hand, so give the boys a chance to shine a little bit on the Brendler field tonight.
Well, I'm also pleased so far, that having all these kids in the Westport here, there have been no injury. The play has been good. In fact, that was something
Here we go.
There we go.
Gonna step up.
That looks so familiar. And there, one of my last seasons, that move right there, beating the fullback on the right, cost us our sectional game against, of all people, Newcomb, who we hadn't even heard of, But Newcomb, we had beaten them the year before, and then the fullback went out like that. The guy lobbed it over him, and he was his name was West, as I recall. Of course, he'd be good, he's a West.
Of course.
Like a Trombley. But anyway, kind of surprised us all that we were packed, ready to go on to the section, this was the sectional final. No, sectional semifinal. Yeah.
Good move by Dorn. Oh, that was a good defensive play. And
that's what I worry about.
Yeah, the injury. They can ill afford to have another injury to a player.
And that's it. You can't.
Because Dorn he's done a great job back there this year. The senior done a really good job. He was injured all last season, so it's nice to see him come in and make such a great contribution.
Right? He was out all last.
Rabbit was out all last season. True, yeah, true. And this year we lose Drake. Derek Drake. And with him, it would have been a different season. There is no doubt. But they've won. Coach. I think tonight they win tonight. They're going to win the division.
Right.
I don't think they could still drop the last two games and. I still think they're going to win the division, so it's going to be another.
I never know. NAC could give them a hard time, and DC possibly.
We outplayed both those teams pretty bad. Yeah. Let's face it. I don't think. No disrespect to them. I don't think they've improved as much to play with us. They're going to pack it in, and actually Northern Adirondack was trying to come at us, and I got to give Kelleher credit for that. He didn't pull the old Dannemora defense. Seton was doing some pretty good Dannemora defense on us, but you got to give Northern Adirondack. They have a couple good players, Kellett kid and a Mannion kid. When they get the ball, you had to be.
Well, that's the same thing that we had
ready to roll.
Faced today. Now there were times where we were comfortably in their end, and we controlled the ball and had some good opportunities. But then every once in a while, they would get the ball out to their right wing or the left wing. Mm-hmm. It's basic old soccer, 1-on-1. And boy, they were a threat.
Well, they have a Venn girl and they have a McGee girl.
They were a threat.
Who are the real deal. They had
we won the game today at NAC. And I'm saying that the field, by the way, was such a.
Oh, here we go
again.
Oh, that's a foul.
The field, because it's not manicured, and it's thick and toughy, you know.
Yes.
It doesn't allow the ball to go as
Play
quickly.
true. It's not true.
Running it as well. It's a problem.
I honestly think some of these teams do that on purpose to shape you.
I wonder
And if
about that.
you know what? If I was a coach, I'd do the same thing. And I'm like, how do you slow them down?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Let the grass grow an extra inch and a half, and you know if we can get away with it. I mean, hey, listen,
Well, John-
I have seen it. So
Well,
it's
John, my son is along here, and you made some comment today about the game over there. What? Or was it here about the field? No. No, I don't know what it was. I lost what it was.
well,
They said
well,
some-
Lake Placid has done that to us a few times. The boys, anyway, that I've
Oh,
been
the
up there
Lake
to watch.
Placid one, yeah, Lake Placid.
And it's a
when we
small,
played there.
it's a
Their
small,
field is
it's a small
and
field, and they let the grass grow a little longer.
That place,
it's-
but see,
That's a strike. Oh, what a nice save by Guerrero. Keep the shutout.
Good job.
That was a good job.
All right, well, see now that.
Good job by the
crossbar.
sophomore.
Did he stick his hand out on it?
Yeah.
Because boy, that looked like that was in.
That did look like it was in. That was a great strike, actually. Really nice
But John
strike.
said something about their goalkeeper.
What I was saying was that we've had some games this year that were kind of struggles, and it seems like they were all on these smaller fields or
They're gonna have
fields
trouble
where
on
the,
the small-
where the
small
surface is cruddy.
Yes. Well, last year in the Final Four, you were down at the Final Four that first game.
Yeah, against
Same
Poland
thing.
or whoever it was.
Same thing.
Oh yeah, that was
That
terrible.
and I.
For a state final.
It was not, and I.
Yeah.
And listen, I'll tell you what; those people are extremely hospitable to us.
Yeah.
The Middletown people are great people. And I was talking to one of the people who are the ADs, like a liaison, Kevin Witt, real nice man. And I explained it to him. I said, "Gee, Kevin, you know that's not a caliber field that we should
And
be
to
playing
think-
on.
well,
you
to
know, it's a JV field at best. You know." And I said, "It's not good, you know, it's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
good field." But then again, if I have a team like Poland and they're just big athletes and they're not as skilled, I want that field.
Yeah.
You know, those Chazy kids can't get away from me if I'm putting a body on them. You know, you have a field like this, and this field is an anomaly. For even up here, not even Class D, for any class.
Any class.
The
That's good.
the center
Oh,
more.
here we go. Another
We got another.
opportunity here for this kid on the left.
Yeah, he's had a few strikes.
All right, nice lead.
That was a nice lead. Well defended. Okay.
Center Maurice is
Yes.
ranked, by the way, in the Bs.
Yes, they are.
They're, of course, Long Island has always been, they were a hotbed of soccer way back. At one time, they used to.
Southold. Remember the team
Southold against-
Southold? They
right.
won several Class D championships, state championships in a row, like
Yeah.
six,
Yeah, they had
5 or 6 in a row.
Yeah.
But they moved up since too. I think they're
Oh,
in
they went
Class
to
C,
C, yeah.
Class C schools now, so we don't have to face. Remember SS Seward?
Yeah,
They're in
well,
Class
see,
C.
they're moved up, sure.
They're in Class C.
Well, even though, you see, because we up here, like against Westport or Crown Point or Keene, for instance, I mean, we are the bigger school.
We are.
In the D. But in state level, we are a very small school.
Well, we're
The
not.
D.
We're not a big D school.
No, we're not.
You know, Chateauguay. You know, Chateauguay is
There's a C, closer to C than
They
a
are. They're a decent sized D school. Where Chazy is a small D. And you know, you have, teams from Wells. They screw in like they graduate 12 kids.
Right, yeah.
That's hard. You know, I mean, and they do well though. I mean, in their basketball program, baseball.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
of the smaller numbers. Well, baseball is 11 men, too.
but they do well, a lot of times, those teams. I mean, but in soccer, this is relatively new where Chazy's been dominating. Everybody thinks Chazy's been doing this forever.
Yeah.
Well, Chazy hasn't.
No,
You know,
no.
it's been ups and downs, and then since basically, I'll tell you what, since Tregan took over, did well, but since Rob Mcauliffe did it, he really polished a program that was sharp anyway.
Oh, yeah. He's maintained. It took hold, and he's maintained it. That's the
But
other
the girls are doing it too. The girls are doing it.
Manner. See, that's the thing with the girls. The different manner, because you don't have a steady coach. We've had changes in coaches.
Yes, yeah.
You think of the number of coaches that the girls have
They've
had
had a few.
since Julie Bayshard.
Yeah.
And yet they've managed in their own way, although I think they have suffered by that.
I agree, Coach. I agree. You know, I love Karen Sherman. I love the way she coaches. I'm over here in the booth, and I listen to her, and I get a chuckle because she's into it. You know, she loves it. You can tell it's her passion, and it shows. You know, she gets the most out of those young ladies, and
Nice
that's
shot.
a strike.
Another
What a
one
nice
right up.
save by
Boy.
Gravel. Holy cow!
That's good.
He's making a good statement for himself, Mr. Gravel, and that's
Yeah.
2 great saves. But you know, it's fun to have a coach over here with that passion, you know. And you hear Robbie McAuliffe over here doing the same thing. You know, he's over here and he's exhorting his team.
By the way, you were saying something about, you know, something going, you know, with soccer being a passion in this. We're down to the last couple of minutes here.
Okay.
And with Chazy, and I think back in the old days, we used to feel that we were fortunate in the fact that our kids were a little more naive and believed in everything we said. You know,
Oh, yeah.
you win their heart, and that's not so much true now because everybody is informed about the world, and you know they're not. I don't want to say we're naive, but one of the things, Joe, that I was really proud of is that I was in the Army, so I have, you know, I still have to say it that the Marine recruiters got a lot of Chazy boys.
That was one. That's
Whoa, there we go. A lot of Chazy boys into the Marines through the years. You know, if you go down, a lot of our soccer players ended up in the Marines.
Vince Villamere, myself. Yeah, there's.
Oh, you go
there's
way
been a
back.
few.
One of my first ones was Dickie Lewis.
Dickie Lewis?
He was in the Marines.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, and another one much more recent, as I retired, was both Bayshard boys, you know.
The Riley boys.
And Riley,
John-
James Riley, John Riley, Joe's friend, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
Was John.
Wasn't Victor Marine?
Victor
was Marine.
Lapointe.
Yeah, you know, so, I mean, you think about it, this is because mainly because of the fitness that our kids had. So maybe that also affected the program.
I think so. I think.
Well, here we are down to, and Papa George was another
Yes,
one.
being able, you know what it is, just being able to take orders and you trust your leader. That's the bottom line. Who's in charge, and do you trust them, and you're going to do what they tell you to do. And
Well, I feel good about that as a
Well,
coach.
that's true.
You know, in other
That's how it
words,
works.
the kid left and they were able to go on.
That's exactly
Well, I
how it
remember one
works.
guy coming back telling me, he said, boy, after going through phys ed with you, he said, the basic training was nothing to it. So that was nice. Well,
true.
anyway.
yeah, you did. Well, you know, listen, you had us out running 3 miles. Grudgingly, I do it. But, you know, I'm not sure I cared for you after the first couple of miles. I know I didn't, Coach, but, you know, you went out and you did it. You know, you went out and you did what you were asked to do, and you did it.
And
you may not have
with
liked
these
it.
kids. That's the 110% that we're referring
Exactly
to. The
it.
last 10%.
How much time is left,
Here,
Coach?
4 seconds left.
Okay, listen, Chazy is, was it 5-0? I didn't look out there. Shots on goal, or...
Nothing. Yeah.
All right, we're 5-0. This looks like 19 shots in favor of Chazy, 7 in Westport. Corner kick, Chazy 6, Westport 1. And listen, Coach Brendler, it's been another pleasure having you up here this evening on the senior night here at the George Brendler Field, and been great talking to you and having, you know, former Coach Tom Tregan up here previously. And
I appreciate you asking. And
well, you know,
nice
I want to tell you again,
I see a different angle here too, which is good.
it's better up here, isn't it?
I can see both from up here.
Well, listen.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, thank you, Coach, for coming over. Listen, we happy to have Chazy. I think they're going to be winning the Division II Northern Soccer League Championship once again with his victory over Westport here tonight. And congratulations to the seniors. And I'm going to have to pick a what they call a Butternut Squash Award winner, the MVP of the game. I'm going to have to give a couple out here. I got to give one to, of course, one of my favorites, Hayden Gay, for a couple of goals, and Alec Lapierre is going to get one tonight for scoring a nice goal this evening. So Alec Lapierre and Hayden Gay, 2 seniors, going to be walking off with my version of an MVP. So we're going to finish this broadcast up this evening with how Calvin likes to do it, and say that's the way it was, and